Hello, everybody. Welcome. If you're new here, it's for entertainment only. I haven't been on in the last couple days. A few things that happened. Still working with a blown out knee, so that sucks. And had a fucking tree. My neighbor's tree actually got blown over today. We had high winds. Fucking nothing like a hurricane victims. I'm not like like ah. This sounds bad. Okay, I'm gonna explain to you anyways. Tree fucking blew over in my neighbor's yard, fucking crashed through our fence, and fucking hit my fucking brother's truck. Now my brother, he passed away 2 years ago, and I've been working, with his wife, who's she's my sister. I've been working to fucking repair that fucking truck, and so like it just put a little ding on the top of it. It didn't break out no windows, but it was like a big fucking tree, and it just like crashed through everything and that's all the little damage did. And I was like, motherfucker. So I haven't been on in the last couple days. That happened today, but I just still feel I gotta get on and bullshit about current events because, like I said, it's fun, it's therapy, and I wanted to talk about some disturbing shit that I was listening to earlier. I was like listening to the Alex Jones channel, and they're talking about martial law and all that kind of fucking shit. And it's like, yeah, we always hear that, but when the fucking government actually comes out and says something like, hey, we're gonna go ahead and allow the US military to fucking use deadly force against Americans if we have to. And it's like, okay, I get it. We're almost at World War III. And we got a presidential election, and the guy that's gonna go in there is gonna stop all this bullshit. I mean, what the fuck? Yeah, fucking what the fuck is going on here? Anyways, but I think the reason why all that shit is going on is because um when you have a president that is so popular as Trump, and he's an ex-president, but it's a landslide. It's not even close. They want to always show the polls as close, so when they go ahead and try to run their ballots in the middle of the night and let the election take more than a couple days to count everything, they want it to look like it's close so they can fucking just push in their votes enough to stuff the ballot enough to fucking declare him not the winner. And everybody fucking knows it. I'm not the only one that's fucking saying this. Everybody's fucking saying it. I mean, even Tyrus on Gutfeld, he's like, it's not even fucking close. This shit's gonna be done by 10 o'clock at night. And honestly, that's how it would be if it was, if it's run fairly. But if you look at it, dude, I just don't see how she could win. And after her, pardon me, performance yesterday on Fox News at that debate, holy fuck. But it's not just hers. I mean, fucking Democrats are getting fucked up into because a lot of you're going to see senators up for debates, even ones that we like. And some of their fucking terms, a lot of their terms, fucking coincide with the presidential election. So we have such a kind of thing here. I have imported it in already. We're going to take a look at it, and it's Ted Cruz. And I don't know what the hell's going on here. Let me see here. Who's he talking to? He's an ex linebacker or something like that. His challenger is called Rep. Colin Allred. Devastating. All right, so this is an Infowars article from Adam Salazar. Adam Salazar at Infowars. I'm gonna give you props, bro. You're really good at what you do, and you make my job a lot easier because all I got to do is just read your shit and go, yeah, this is what this guy said, and it's pretty fucking accurate. Fucking find this shit on CNN, MSNBC. I bet you won't. You'll have like Joy Reid, and she's like got this haircut that looks like Donald Trump's, like she's copying Donald Trump's haircut, and she's like, Donald Trump is racist. All white people are racist, and all should be sad and crying because the black people are so superior. And it's like, bitch, you're a crazy fucking racist. What are you talking? And she's like, I'm not racist. You're white. I'm black, so I can't be racist. And it's like, no, bitch, you're fucking racist. You're fucking crazy too. I don't know how people can see. I mean, like I watch clips of her all the time. You know, I like watch Mark Dice or you know, fucking other, Crowder does it too. They'll post clips of this bitch, and it's like even Gutfeld will do it, and it's like you see how fucking unhinged these people are. They're not right mentally. I mean, here I am. It's like fucking 2 a.m. I'm gonna fucking do this podcast, drink a few beers, and bitch about shit. But I don't think I'm that bad. those, and they're fucking sober, and they got mainline fucking television series, and they literally fucking spew nothing but hate, and it blows my mind how they even have jobs, and they talk about like, you know, if I say some word fucking wrong, oh fuck, I'll be killed, I'll be canceled. Anyway, sorry, tangent, got to pull back. Trump calls it the weave. Got to weave back here. So Ted Cruz was talking to this guy named Rep Colin Allred, and I think he's a congressman, and he's going for the Senate. And yeah, here we go. So motherfucker, full screen that, and we'll play it, and I'm gonna go ahead and import it in.
And it's not funny because you're a threat to democracy.
Sure.
I was on the Senate. I was on the House floor when we went through the votes. I remember when you objected to the results in Arizona.
Not funny.
Now, let me be clear. I don't know Congressman Allred. I have no animus for him personally. But I do know his voting record. His voting record is radical and extreme. And you want to talk about threats to democracy? Let's take a vote that just happened a few weeks ago on the floor of the House, the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act provided that in order to register to vote, you got to prove you're an American citizen. Congressman Allred voted no. 11.5 million illegal immigrants have come into this country under Kamala Harris and Colin Allred's open border policies. And Congressman Allred votes no to protecting our elections and ensuring that people don't vote illegally. That is a threat to democracy.
That was good. That was good. And there's like a whole bunch of them. Like I said, you can go to InfoWars, and well, you'd have to look back in their history. I mean, they break the news all the time. I like to go to Revolver, and you know, I'll go to Breitbart every now and then. You can go ahead and check the New York Times if you want. Sometimes they get it right. It's a quote, but anyways, so that was one of the scalps. The next scalp was Pocahontas. She was talking against this other guy. I think his name was Deaton, and she went on to crypto and something like that. And the guy's like, "You're going after banks, and and you're going after crypto." And it's like, but however, the banks that you are working for that are making you go after crypto, they fucking were involved with Jeffrey Epstein, $290 million suit. And it was true. Like I remember reading something about the Virgin Islands, like how the lawsuit originally was like against the Virgin Islands and JP Morgan. And then all of a sudden, like the Virgin Islands, like mayor, like fucking arrested like the person, the all the fucking lawyers that filed that law firm that filed that fucking lawsuit, and then they wound up like going to their superior court and they fucking threw it out, and they were able to sue fucking the Virgin Islands as well, because that's where the pedo island. I think it was called like Little St. James or something like that, but they called it Pedophile Island, Jeffrey Epstein's island. It's in I think it's in the Virgin Islands. Yeah. So anyways, so you got Warren was knocked out. Hopefully she fucking loses, and she's an incumbent. She's been there for a long time. But like when she like ran for, I think that's your problem if you run for the presidency against somebody like Trump, that if he fucking hones in on you and makes you famous, boy, you better have your shit in a row, because other people will come after you after you're, because you're not going to beat him. And then when you go back to your state, somebody's going to challenge you, and they already see that you got a fucking crater in your gate, and they're just going to exploit it. And this guy come in there and he's like, yeah, I was like fucking sexually abused for 2 years, and I really care about these sexual assault things, and and you're protecting the banks that did it. I mean, and then you had Cruz fucking comparing the guy Allred to fucking Kamala Harris, just beautiful, beautiful. Hopefully it all works out. But then, and this is all on the heels of Kamala bombing. And I know I'm going like a long ways around this, but I think it's still all tied together because like Ron Paul was actually talking about a DOD memo that came out. And I think that's what alerted Alex Jones, because I found it on the Alex Jones show. And what's that guy, fucking Rob Bowen or whatever? He always does these special reports, and he's really good at them. He's got a nice deep voice, so and so. But he did a report on it, and then the documents were actually looked over, and Ron Paul did a segment on it, and so Alex Jones was covering it. He also covered it a little bit with Roger Stone, but it was basically saying that the DOD has authorized the military to use, force, including, excessive, including deadly force against Americans. And it's like, oh, fuck, here we go. Anyways, got to make this quick. Well, I don't want it too quick. I've only put fucking 12 minutes in. We gone a lot longer than that. It's not too late. We've done later. So what do we got here? That one's funny. Yeah. Okay. All right. So what's this one? Oh yeah, we're gonna get to that one later. Ooh, I'm wondering which one I want to do. I think I know which one I want to do. All right. So let me import one of these in. I can actually start anywhere. Pardon me. Well, here's one from Breaking 911. Kamala Harris. We'll just bitch about this one here. I'm just gonna go ahead and play this one.
Tell pollsters all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election, and specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries. How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration, because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
do you
now,
just a number? Do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions.
I'm not finished.
No, she's not finished.
It's a rough estimate of 6 million people have been released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get to the question. I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
And when you came into office, your administration immediately reversed a number of Trump border policies. Most significantly, the policy that required illegal immigrants to be detained through deportation, either in the U.S. or in Mexico. And you switched that policy. They were released from custody awaiting trial. So instead, included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress, before we worked on infrastructure, before the Inflation Reduction Act, before the Chips and Science Act, before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath, was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Exactly.
It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the... Yes, ma'am.
May I finish?
God, you wonder why people won't vote for this bitch. I'm sorry, guys, women in particular, if I sound like I'm sexist because I'm saying bitches. If you fall in bitches fucking category, it doesn't matter if you're men or female. If you're a little bitch, you're a fucking little bitch. That's all there is to it. Nobody wants to listen to a bitch like this. She Can I finish? Can I finish? It's like, dude, you don't want to fucking. And she has that annoying voice, and she plays to that annoying voice, and it's just like, oh, you know. So if I call people bitches, and a lot of times they're female, don't fucking complain. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Okay. Anyways, so this fucking bitch fucking pisses everybody off, and she's just so fucking annoying. And that whole thing where she's talking about on day one we fucking brought this bill to Congress. I think he notes it. They had control of the House, the Senate, and the Congress. They had all three branches of government. Like right after the election, they stole it that bad, and fucking they still couldn't bring that to the vote because there's legal immigration and there's illegal immigration. Legal immigration is you wait in line and you fucking, wait your turn and present your case and then learn how the country works and the Constitution and all that kind of shit. Get a test, then you're sworn in as a citizen, and fucking you're great. But it takes time, it takes money, and all that kind of shit. Well, I don't know how much money it takes. I was born here, so I don't know I don't know how much. But anyways, you got to get in line. When you allow fucking millions of people in, and then you're gonna like bring a bill like this that would go, we're gonna give you a fast tracked path to fucking citizenship. We're gonna like try to get you voting right away. It takes all these other guys, and they're like, dude, we did our fucking time, and all of a sudden, this guy fucking, this guy, I got a green card. I've been working here for fucking years, and got my exam, about ready to take this. This guy just fucking got here from fucking wherever, fucking India, fucking Taiwan, fucking Haiti or whatever, and he's already fucking working with a social security number and in a house with like fucking $3,000 on a debit card, sometimes more, sometimes a lot more. And it's like, it's just, it's so arrogant, ignorant, and stupid that they did this. And so day one, they're trying to pass this fucking act that would do just that. And it was so stupid that even a Democratic controlled fucking government wouldn't even bring it to the floor. It's that ridiculous. They'll probably try to do it now, but they don't have the votes, and then Republicans now control Congress, not the Senate, but Congress. So, and I don't even think that they can get all fucking Democratic senators on board because everybody's getting ready to be replaced. I don't think that they understand because, I get it that they'll probably like have a bunch of ballots rigged, and they might rig them down ballot this time. I don't know, but I don't think it's enough to push it over. I think now, like for Trump to come to California and have 107,000 people at a rally. And then, before that, he went to Butler where he got shot in the ear, came back to that one, had over like well over that amount, as far as I can see. It just says to me that California is in play. California's in play. I think fucking New York's in play. I think fucking New Jersey. I think all 50 states, including Hawaii, are in play. I really do. They've screwed it up that bad. Anyways.
Finish responding,
But here,
please.
but
But
this,
you have to let me finish,
you had the
please.
White House and the House and the Senate,
I'm
and
in
they
the
didn't
middle
bring up
of
that bill.
responding to the point you're raising,
Okay.
and I'd like to finish.
Yes, ma'am.
We recognized from day one that, to the point of this being your first question, it is a priority for us as a nation and for the American people. And our focus has been on fixing a problem. And from day one, then, we have done a number of things, including to address our asylum system and put more resources, getting more judges, what we needed to do to tighten up penalties and increase penalties for illegal crossings, what we needed to do to deal with points of entry between border entry points. That's the work we did, and we worked on supporting what was a bipartisan effort, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, to actually strengthen the border. That
That's a lie. The only Republicans that were for that were rhinos. And that's the thing with the Republican Party. I think I said that. I don't know if I said it in a stream before, like when so like when Bush Jr. got in there and the wars and everything like that, Obama was coming in, but people in the Republican Party were already having enough of the what the Republican Party was doing. The Democrats are kind of like zombies. They're loyal to party. They can't look beyond the picture. I don't know what's wrong with them, but they never said, "Oh, we got problems in house and we need to do something." The Republicans did that. That was where the Tea Party came about. And then like a couple like black senators or congressmen were walking to the house, and there was a Tea Party rally right outside. And they were like, "We got spit in and they called us the N-word and everything like that." And people like reviewed the tapes, and it was like they had to apologize because that never happened. They demonized the Tea Party. But that's when like Obama came to power, and then the Tea Party became a big thing. And then everybody kind of realized that the Tea Party was being infiltrated by the rhinos. And it's like, no, the Tea Party was there to infect the Republican Party. And it did. It did. The Freedom Caucus, all that stuff came out from it. Turning Point USA. I don't think, I think that's actually an old organization that kind of spun from the Obama years. I could totally be wrong about that. But I think, like, I know Charlie Kirk's young and everything like that, but I think that he came about during the Obama years because Obama fucked our country up. I saw a thing the other day. Obama was having a rally, and he was like, "Trump's claiming that he has the best economy ever. That's because we handed it to him." He literally said that he handed Trump the best economy after he fixed what George Bush had screwed up over his 8 years, with the wars and all that kind of stuff. Obama increased that. And Obama did even worse. He like he let the Federal Reserve manipulate things to where it fucking just fucked our country, our economy up to the point where everybody was leaving. And so I know, if you believe what Obama said, like he handed Trump the best economy, and when Trump got in, fucking he just smooth sailing off Obama's credit. I would like to direct you to the magic wand speech. And I'm not going to look it up. But it was like Maytag or some like washing machine fucking company that was made, made in America, born in America, made in America. And it was a huge brand. And the company was, and Donald Trump wasn't even elected president right now. He was the lead. I think he was at the time. He was done with the Republican Party. He had already got the nomination. It was him versus Hillary, and there was no ifs, ands, or buts. It was either Trump or Hillary. And Maytag was leaving the country, and Obama was giving a speech. He was out there for Hillary, and he's like, he says he can bring back jobs if he wants, and he'll just be able to do it, and blah blah blah. And all I'm wondering is, what kind of magic wand does he have? And like literally the next day or the next weekend, Maytag calls Trump, or no. It goes viral on the internet that all these people were losing their jobs because like Maytag. I don't know if it's Maytag. It might have been. I want to say Maytag. Could totally be wrong about the company, but it was some sort of air conditioning or fucking. It was some sort of appliance. It was leaving the United States. The company was shipping off to like China or something like that. And all these workers were like, they were going viral online. And they're like, yeah, we're losing our jobs, and they're all getting shipped off, and we need somebody to help us. And so like they reached out to Trump, and so Trump got on the phone and he called the company, and he says, if I win this election, I'm going to severely punish you. And so what I think you got to do is stay here in the United States, with tariffs and stuff. And so the next thing you know, it's like, so Obama makes a speech, And then the next weekend, like this appliance center is staying in America specifically because Trump called them. And so the whole meme that was going on then was Obama was like, what kind of magic wand does he have? And like Trump was like, I got a telephone. And so when Obama says, oh, like, no, people, the companies were leaving here in droves. Obama fucked this country up. He probably divided us the most. He was the most racist and that's the thing, is he was the most racist bastard, and his mom was white. His dad was Frank Marshall Davis. It wasn't Barack Obama the third or whatever. He didn't look nothing like that. His real daddy was Frank Marshall Davis. And that's the whole thing with the birth certificate. They're like, oh, you're trying to say he wasn't born in America? No, he was born in America. He was born in Hawaii, but they fucking had to switch a couple names out before they produced that birth certificate, because if they would have looked into it and found out that daddy was actually Frank Marshall Davis, the communist pornographer out of fucking Hawaii. Look up that. Look up, was it Joseph Gilbert? I remember the name. Joseph Gilbert, Dreams of My Real Father. Check out that book. Check out anything he's got on YouTube or what have you, or fucking Rumble, because that guy will blow your mind. That's Barack Obama's daddy. Anyways, getting off on a tangent. Fuck Obama and Big Mike. There's a couple more here. We'll just try to get through these as fast as possible, so I can at least, have something to post up for the night. I'm making already, I think, 4 cents. So I'm fucking rocking it. Clay Travis. I like Clay Travis. He's fucking funny as hell. Let's see what we got here.
Frankly, exhausted of Brett.
More than 70% of people tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
But you're
people
the
have
lever of
become,
power.
but listen, over the last decade, it is clear to me, and certainly the Republicans who are on stage with me, frankly, exhausted of Brett.
More than
People are
70% of
exhausted.
people.
Sorry about that, but you've been in power. 79% of the fucking people say it's all in the wrong direction, and you've been in power for the last 300 years, and you go, but Donald Trump is running for office. You know what I'm talking about. What? I'm sorry, what? I know what the fuck you're saying, bitch. You're fucking crazy. All right, one more. Just show you how bad she fucking bombed, and then I'll try to get to the Alex Jones stuff, because that's the best part. Bam, here we are. This is from Colin Rugg. Kamala Harris fumes. Oh, this is when the bitch gets pissed. She's like, Trump's a threat to democracy, and they show a clip, and she's like, that's not the clip. I'll just play it. Let me make sure it's here we go.
He's the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within, talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
We asked that question to the former president today. Harris Faulkner had a town.
That's exactly what's misleading. Just remember this. I want to rewind this. And remember what she says. Taking the American military and turning it on the American people. This is important. This is going to lead up to my next fucking in a minute. But listen to this fucking bitch. This is exactly what they're doing. I'll back it up all the way. When she's saying Trump is going to turn the American military against the American people. So we're going to get into that in a second. And that's why this is important. So let's just go ahead and here we go.
He's the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within, talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
We asked that question to the former president today. Harris Faulkner had a town hall, and this is how he responded.
I heard about that. They were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster. No, it's true. No, but think of it. It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing.
So,
Brett, I'm sorry, and with all due respect, that clip was not
I hope that's not too loud.
what he has been saying about the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not
Hopefully
what you
that's
just
better.
showed.
he was asked
No,
about that
no, no,
specific.
that's not what you just showed. In all fairness and
I'm
respect
telling you,
to
that was the
you,
question that we asked him.
he didn't show that. And here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times. And you and I both know that. And you and I both know that he has talked about turning the American military on the American people. He has talked about going after people who are engaged in peaceful protest. He has talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy.
BLM
And
riots,
in a democracy,
peaceful, mostly peaceful.
the president of the United States, in the United States of America, should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it.
That bitch is just unhinged. It's really bad. And she talks about locking people up for peaceful protest. So like a lot of leftist publications have already been saying that they're going to riot if Trump gets back in. You got Ratzinger, that fucking douchebag, saying we might not certify his elections and we'll just bunker up and prepare for martial law. And so that's what like kind of drove me to today, because I was like checking on InfoWars and Roger Stone was on. But before that, they had a couple. They had one. What the fuck is John Bound report? Bound. I think it's BOWNE. Bound. Whatever. But he does a report, and it's about the DOD authorizing through an executive order the military to use lethal force against Americans. And it was like, okay, that's a weird thing. But then Alex Jones was talking about it. So I just want to make sure that, the hypocrisy of these fucking people, they are afraid that Trump is going to use the military to go after them and, his political opponents, which would be them. And he would go after peaceful protesters. Well, their version of peaceful protesters are BLM riots, and BLM doesn't stand for Black Lives Matter. It never did. It always stood for Black Lesbian Marxists. That's BLM. That's what it always was. I mean, I heard BLM and they're like, what's BLM? It's like Black Lives Matter, and it's run by a couple, lesbian Marxists. And I go, are they black? And they're like, yeah. And I looked at them, and they're a couple of fucking fat black bitches. And it's like, that's BLM. And they're like, yeah, all right. Black lesbian Marxist. It's not Black Lives Matter. You're fooling yourself. You're fucking kidding everybody. What are you talking about? It's Black lesbian Marxist. Fucking pants on fire. Anyways, so I wanted to show you these reports because Kamala Harris is worried, and she's speaking for people above her. She's worried that Trump is going to turn the justice system on his political opponents. What have they been doing to Trump? 36 fucking convictions or 32 convictions. They're trying to send him to prison for 110 years. They're trying to bankrupt his company. They censored him. They took, January 6th, all this shit. They've been doing nothing but try to throw the guy in jail. Didn't work. He got more powerful because we've never indicted a sitting president. He probably would have went away. Well, no, it's not true, because when you guys started fucking shit up and then you got back in it, that's when you went after him. It wasn't until he got back in it, and that's when you went after him. In my opinion, he had to. I bet you anything, somehow he got a warning, said, don't get back in it or we'll fucking do everything we can to ruin you. And he was like, okay, well, fuck you. You're ruining the country. I'm back in. And that's when all the shit started. But anyways, the hypocrisy of the left. Donald Trump is going to come after you. He's going to use the military after you. He's going to engage in lawfare against his political opponents. And this is what they've done to him. They've engaged in lawfare with him. And now we might have them saying, if you vote for him, or if you support him in some way, they'll come after you too, and they'll use the military in case there's huge uprisings in every single fucking state across the fucking country if they cheat too much. That's how I'm taking it, because they're going to cheat too much. They can't afford to lose this election. They have to go like fucking off planet or underground or to another country that doesn't allow extradition. And when that happens, when they all flee to China and shit, or Iran and shit like that, we'll know who they were really working for. They're sure as hell not fleeing to Mars. Elon's going to take them there. So, and we need Nuremberg trials, 2.0. I don't mean like we don't need to go to like Nuremberg and retry these people. No, we'll have them here in America, but we'll just call it Nuremberg too, but without Nuremberg. It makes sense in a lot of people's heads. If it doesn't make sense in yours, then that's too bad. Okay, here we go. I'm going to play this band video. Here we go. Well, shit. What the hell? Apparently I got to hit play before. All right. Band.
I've seen one FEMA agent since I've been here who approached the front gate of our facility, and his request was, get this, cooperate with local government. We've been reporting
Turn this down a little bit.
To the authorities for domestic terrorism. Yeah, we're a bunch of special operations veterans.
I still hope that's not too loud.
Than what we're doing. We're here to help the people.
Yes, it is that damn bad that the survivors of the storm are in such mental torment and going through so much trauma because they literally have nothing left. There are certain ones of them that have nothing left. No homes, no belongings, no nothing. Completely gone. All they have is their life, and they're taking that from themselves now. Yeah, it's that bad.
I think those who have been spreading these lies to try to undermine the opposition are going to pay a price for it.
Imagine that an organization that brands conservatives and Christians as puts them on a map with chapters of the Ku Klux Klan works with the federal government, advising the administration on its domestic terror strategy. This Orwellian nightmare isn't a hypothetical. It actually happened under the Biden administration. This hate map inspired an act of terror in 2012, and former staff have come forward claiming that the hate accusations are a highly profitable scam. The White House has hosted meetings with SPLC leaders and staff at least 11 times, and Biden nominated an SPLC attorney to a top federal judgeship. The Biden administration has used the SPLC to target radical traditional Catholics, and last year, the SPLC added parental rights groups like Moms for Liberty to the hate map. This echoes the Biden White House's work on a letter comparing concerned parents to domestic terrorists.
This morning, growing safety fears for government workers in Western North Carolina, supporting ongoing recovery efforts from Hurricane Helene. According to the Washington Post, an urgent message was sent to numerous federal agencies on Saturday, warning FEMA has advised all federal responders in Rutherford County, North Carolina, to stand down and evacuate the county immediately, adding that National Guard troops had come across trucks of armed militia, saying they were out hunting.
That was all bullshit, by the way.
NBC News has not seen the email cited by the Post, and it's unclear whether the threat mentioned was seen as credible. North Carolina Republican Congressman Chuck Edwards addressing the reported threats on MSNBC.
We had two counties with folks reported with different militia groups attacking and threatening FEMA.
An update here. Authorities in North Carolina have arrested 44-year-old William Jacob Parsons
One guy.
of Bostic, North Carolina. We have the mugshot there. Parsons was arrested and charged with going armed to the terror of the public. He was armed with a handgun and
They
a
are there.
rifle. Of course,
That
in
dickhead
this
right there.
information environment, there are concerns that conspiracy theories and bad information
wondering which way to
regarding
point on
recovery
this thing.
efforts could spur further threats, but really relieved to report that at this point, the sheriff's office believes that the suspect acted alone.
The U.S. military has updated a DOD directive to allow the use of lethal force in domestic operations under specific conditions, particularly in assisting civil law enforcement during national security emergencies, potentially including civil disturbances. The 2024 version of the directive repealed previous versions and significantly expands the military's role in domestic operations, raising concerns about its use during potential civil unrest surrounding the election. The updated directive allows defense intelligence components to provide personnel to assist law enforcement agencies and civil authorities with lethal force in situations likely to result in death or serious bodily injury, including confrontations with civilian individuals or groups. However, the U.S. military is generally prohibited from engaging domestically with the citizenry, except in cases and circumstances expressly authorized by the Constitution or an act of Congress, as per the Posse Comitatus Act, 18 U.S. Code 1385. The updated directive and the potential use of lethal force in domestic operations have raised significant concerns and questions about civil liberties and the military's role in domestic affairs, particularly in the context of the upcoming elections.
I'm confident it'll be free and fair. I don't know whether it'll be peaceful. The things that Trump has said and the things that he said last time out, when he didn't like the outcome of the election, were very dangerous.
John Bound reporting.
InfoWars, bitch. So that was a really good report. John Bound, that's his name. Guy's fucking great. He's got a lot of reports there. Go to band.video and you can he's got his own little section. You can watch all his little reports, but he's great. But what he's talking about is fucking scary. It's like, oh fuck, dude. So our own government is, like Joe Biden's like, oh, I don't know if, people are going to act peacefully for it. You know why people fucking had problems with January, the January 6th thing? Because our Constitution says the electors, the state electors, they do the legislation. They're state litigators. They are the ones that control the elections. They make the rules. You can't go to court. The Constitution does not say you can take it to court and litigate this. If they are elected by the people and they design the elections, there's nothing you can do other than vote them out. And that's why, you got cheating and scheming. That's why you got to be more vigilant about that shit. Because if they're already in power, they're going to try to do their best to hang on to it. And that's where we're at right now. But you got this judge in Georgia going, or Virginia or whatever, fucking going after them, saying, "No, you can't do this, you can't do that." And it's like, you don't get it. These are the guys that the Constitution says gets to decide the rules for the election, and it says nothing in the Constitution about a court getting involved. A court cannot get involved. That was the problem that Democrats had when Bush ran against or won against Gore. Al Gore's like, oh, I was cheated. You got to look at these certain little districts in Florida, and I totally won. And of course, that wasn't going to happen because that one was, probably rigged. I mean, let's face it. Who was the governor of Florida that time? Jeb Bush. And who was the candidate running for president? Georgie boy. Bush Jr. Jordan, I gotta do a thing on Jordan Maxwell. Jordan Maxwell did things he's like, no, when you vote, you're only voting for the candidates that they deem should be the candidates. So no matter who you're voting for, they're all on the same agenda. And that was the thing with Donald Trump Donald Trump was not a part of that. And there's a clip, I should try to find it one day. But it's this gal, she's talking to the head of the Republican convention, and he's like, "Well, we don't pick, or the public doesn't pick the nominee. It's up to the Republican convention to actually decide." And the reporter goes like, "Well, why do we have elections?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, I know." And then people wrote in, and the Republican Party was almost shut down because everybody was like, "No, we want Trump, man, whether you like it or not. You don't get to decide. We get to decide." And they had to backtrack from that. It was funny. But anyways, look, this is all bad news regardless. There's I'm not a doom and gloom guy. I'm very positive. So I don't think it's going to get that bad, but you don't want to put the military against the American people. That would destroy the government. Period. The end. Yeah, if there's a civil war, what have you, I think the civilians will win. That's why the Second Amendment is there. And I think like the founding documents, if they weren't fucking burnt and torched by you fucking people, they would survive, and they would be carried on, and a new government would be established with a little bit more closer leaning to those principles. Because our Constitution is fucking genius. It really is. And the fact that it looks after the little guy and all that kind of shit. And we got the Bill of Rights. Yeah, true. Some things need to be inked out, It's like the first 10 amendments, I'm not going to get into it, but anyways, I just don't like the idea of the military going against the American people. I think there's like a charter for the Marine Corps that states that, if the government ever turns against the people, that the Marines are supposed to go on the public side. I really hope that's true. But literally still, you would, even if it wasn't like that, you would literally divide the military in half, and equipment would go on both sides. And I don't think you guys would win. I mean, the first people will fall, or join the people would be the police force. The numbers are just too overwhelming. And then, the National Guard, what have you, they'd probably join the people. And then from there, it's a 50-50 split between the military and the people, active duty or what have you. And then after that, they lose, unless they like try to, nuke the whole world. I think that's one of the things that's on their table. I think I'm getting doom and gloom. I'm not about that, but I wanted to finish off with this little fucking piece with Alex Jones, where he's sharing this thing today on his broadcast, and it's Ron Paul talking about this thing. And Ron Paul is always, he's so good. Donald Trump was the first person I voted for, but I almost voted for Ron Paul. It wasn't until like the Republicans fucked him over, and that's when I stopped. And I was like, I'm not going to fucking vote. I'm not going to register to vote. It was going to be the first time I would have voted for Ron Paul. That guy's fucking great. He had Revolution, and it was like Love-lution. Fuck. Rand Paul's nothing like his dad, and that kind of pisses me off. But Ron Paul's a fucking gem. Yeah, so here we go. Dr. Jones Naturals, folks. I'm not here to plug anybody. But I'll plug. Guys, if you guys really want some good iodine, or the iodine toothpaste or anything like that, or some fucking seaweed moss that's like legit healthy for you or anything like that, you ought to go to Dr. Jones Naturals. And it'll help fucking keep Alex Jones on the air, if not help his transition. And yeah. drjonesnaturals.com. Thank you very much.
All right. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, on the live broadcast. We have very, very important, massive news.
Hopefully that's not too low.
And information to cover today. We're at the most critical juncture in U.S. history. And all of the secret
We'll only play this for a minute or so.
preparation for war of
I
the
want
American
Ron Paul to
people
get on it.
is now public. And what does that tell you? And again, I'm not talking to the audience, the general audience that is very informed. We really care about you, but we also care about folks that are tuning in for the first time that do not understand what's going on. Most of the military are great people, and they're being given cover stories. And for decades, since George Herbert Walker Bush, they've been training in earnest to go up against the American people, but they need cover stories to do it. Now, we're the closest to them actually trying to end the republic using crises to bring in a permanent emergency, civil emergency. Now, Ron Paul, in the last 48 hours, came out and talked about it.
The man.
And the listeners are like, hey, we've already heard this for 2 weeks from you about the latest public document from the DOD about lethal force against the American people. But the good news is it's trended top story yesterday, even bigger than the Brett Baer interview with the idiot Kamala. And that's fun to play and show how she's an idiot, but it's really just political fluff at the end of the day. And we got some of that coming up today, and Roger Stone's joining us with the latest on the campaign and Inside Baseball the last 45 minutes of the next hour. And then I'll continue with news and calls throughout the transmission. But I've learned that when I cover something 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, a year ago, 2 weeks ago, and yeah, 5-10 million people hear about it. I've got to come back to it when the general public now actually wants to know what's going on. But it is very, very ominous when you have this DOD directive and then everything else going on in the background and the talk of how Trump's going to bring in martial law. They're getting you ready for that with all the Hollywood movies about Civil War and a Trumpian character being killed by the military, and they're the good guys killing him. They are really setting the table, or the table is set, I would say, just a little over 2 weeks now, 18 days now, from this incredibly urgent, existential election. So here is former Congressman Dr. Ron Paul reading the actual document. And then I've done this some, but I want to go over more of it because if you think them talking about killing American citizens is bad, the whole document itself is a compendium of all the preparations that are going on for full-out military rule, which is always the main staple of living in martial law, North Korea, Nazi Germany, so on and so such and so forth. So here's Ron Paul.
But we want to start off with a headline from Zero Hedge. It's pretty hot headline. U.S. military now is authorized to kill Americans on U.S. soil. That can't be possible.
Yeah.
This would open up the door for the careless use, and if more frequent and legal. It'll be legal now, so nobody will have to worry about that. Send in the troops. We need you to shoot a couple of these people.
Yeah.
They're opposing our policies. They're demonstrating against COVID rules. There's something they'll come up with. So I think it's very, very dangerous.
So here it is. Now, Zero Hedge picked it up from Armageddon Pros, which is a Substack which they often run. It says U.S. military now authorized to kill Americans on U.S. soil. Just ahead, intriguingly, of November elections, and that was my second thought. The military has granted itself permission to unleash lethal force on the civilian population. Again, I thought this has got to be an exaggeration. So I went and looked, and actually go to the next one because this explains what it is. Now, it's not a law; it's a DOD directive. So this is, the administrative state where they take over. They don't pass laws. They are laws unto themselves. Go to the next one if you can, because this is what they're talking about. And I went on and I read this secondly, and it talks about a reissued DOD directive that was reissued just on September 27th, 2024. It governs the Department of Defense intelligence activities and now includes provisions authorizing lethal force in certain circumstances. And it supplants the 2016 version, which did not mention that. So I read all of this too, which is someone else's analysis. I said, okay, this sounds even more troubling. I want to go look at the document itself. And so go to the next one. I actually went and looked at the DOD directive. It's DOD directive 5240.01. Now go to the next one. I'm just going to get to this really quick so I can just so people, this is on their own website. Now, this is section 3 of that directive, assistance to law enforcement agencies and other civil authorities. Now go to the next one. Now this is levels of authority. This is section 3.3. Defense intelligence components may provide personnel to assist a federal department or agency, including a federal law enforcement agency or a state or local law enforcement agency, when lives are in danger in response to such a request for such assistance in accordance with the following approval authorities. Now, here are the authorities. I'm sorry to get so far into the woods here, but go to the next one. Responding with assets with potential for lethality. And I underline this, I highlighted it, or any situation where it is reasonably foreseeable that providing the requested assistance may involve the use of force that is likely to result in lethal force, including death or serious bodily injury. I'm sorry to bog the discussion down with that, Dr. Wall, but I really wanted to hone in on this is their actual document. It's not just someone's analysis.
It's the actual document,
right,
not just someone's analysis. So over 2 weeks ago, like 16 days.
All right, I'll stop it there. Yeah, so that's scary, and it is dangerous, just like Ron Paul said, because fuck, we're the most heavily armed country in the world. All our civilians are armed. Yeah, we got gangs and 21 million, probably more than that, 30 million people here illegally, but not all of them are bad people. Not all of them are gang members, anything like that. Not all of them, like, they're besides like coming here illegally, they don't, they're probably just trying to make a life, and I totally get that. But still, you got bad ones. And they said they're like, as far as the American household, like 5 or 6 years ago, there's like 12 guns per household. There's so many guns in America. And so, when they want to talk about, they're going to come after Americans and shit, that you better get them quick. That shit will only last so long. I mean, like, I'm really low on the totem pole. I'm only making like 4 cents on Rumble. One of these days, baby. But I remember, like, in Red Dawn, I always like to refer to movies, but like in Red Dawn, the guy talks about when they hike in to the one cabins before the guy gives them his nieces and daughters and shit to fucking take care of. They're all sitting there by the fire and they're fucking talking, and he's like, people are starting to wake up with their throat slit. And I've heard that, like, in I don't know, I think more than one movie, or at least one description. And I think that's kind of accurate, is when important, when they say people are waking up with their throat slit, it'll be like a fucking midnight deal. All of a sudden, fucking Tucker's dead, Alex Jones is dead, fucking Joe Rogan's fucking dead, woke up with his throat slit, all that kind of fucking shit. And then that's when we're in the shit. People will start waking up with their throat slit. And then eventually, they'll get to people that spoke out lower on the totem pole, And it was another thing that this whole DOD thing reminds me of, as far as like they'll use lethal force, and if they have to take over the government. See, that's the ideology of total tyrants and dictators. Is when the military becomes the government. Everybody knows that. And this is like one of those stepping stones. Like, oh, look, Trump got assassinated. He got assassinated with an AR-15, or he got assassinated with a AK-47. Now they're saying it was an AK-47 style, or an SKS with a sniper rifle. SKS would be a better option, probably fucking scoping somebody on a golf course or something like that, But AK-47, AR-15, not really great guns to fucking kill somebody with. So why would, like, if these assassins were, with the government, why AK-47, why AR-15s? Because that's the gun they want to demonize. I mean, literally, let's say Trump got killed and everybody was like, instead of like people getting fucking pissed off about it, everybody's like how so everybody would be like, oh, okay, bummer, and they're like, well, it was done with an AR-15 or it was done with an AK-47. We need to ban those guns. Well, those guns, they thread, they shoot lead downstream. They're not really meant to kill. They're meant to wound. You can kill them. You can kill a person with an AR-15. Guns, they are designed to kill you. But the reason, why the AR-15 uses a 5.56 or 2.23 is it's not to kill you. The best thing it could do is wound you, because now your squad has to pull you off the battlefield. Back in the day when like a Civil War and shit, we had huge caliber fucking weapons. You got hit with that motherfucker, a limb was blown off, and you were left for dead because there's nothing they could do for you. You're fucking gone. You hit in the stomach with that fucking thing, you're ripped in two. So I guess I'm getting off fucking tangent here. I don't think like if it goes to this and there's people in the military that would really go along with disarming people and going against the American people, I think you guys got another thing coming. And we have bigger guns than what you have. You got NATO issued guns. You got puny bullets. You guys think you're like, a 50 cal sniper and everything. Like I said, there's like some 14-year-old fucking in Montana or Texas or Nebraska, probably in all three fucking states and many more like that can fucking drop you twice the yardage you're being trained with. And they do that every fucking deer season. You don't want to, you don't want to go there. It'd be really bad for you and it'll be really bad for us and the whole country. But yeah, guess I'm getting off on a tangent again. I just don't do it. If you're fucking stupid and you're like one of them fucking stupid. I saw one video and it's like some chick and she's like in the Army and the Marines and she's got the butch hair and she's all fucking bull dyke and she's like, can't wait to fucking actually go and fucking take guns away from Americans and shit like that. It became like an internet uproar. I hope they fucking discipline the bitch or at least fucking removed her from active duty, kick you the fuck out of the military. When you think you're going to come against the Americans and you can say this shit with like no fucking repercussions. No, there should be repercussions because you don't want to really piss us off. And another thing about the whole thing is like when the whole COVID vaccine mandate came out and all that kind of shit, almost all the spec war people and all the really high dollar fucking highly trained people said, I'm not putting that shit in my body. And they fucking left the military. Trump's going to probably put him back in the military when he gets in there. But you think about it, they're no longer overseas. They're no longer fighting other people's wars on our dime. They're here. And they're pissed off about what happened. And they see through all this shit. It's one of the reasons why they're not going to go back to the military, even when like the Supreme Court's like, oh, you got to reinstate them, give them back pay, or some court did that. I think the Supreme Court might have got a hand into it. But Trump's like made a pledge like I want it. But literally it's their choice. And a lot of them are like, fuck you. I'm going to stay here with my family. And all you little cocksuckers that think that you're going to fucking bust into a house with your fucking little buddies and your little military gear and think that you're going to fucking hold up a family and take all their guns and take the bad ones away and send them to a camp. One of the things the military likes to do is take you as far away from home as possible. So while you're doing it in California, your family in New Jersey is getting the same treatment from the buddies you hung out with in boot camp. That's right. While you're doing it on one side of the fucking country, your friends are doing it to your family on the other side of the country. Bet you didn't think about that, did you? Yeah, no one's safe. No one's safe when it comes to that shit. It also reminds me of Starship Troopers, you know. Not the alien bugs or anything like that. But like in the beginning, they're in the classroom, and the guy with the mechanical arm, he's a professor, or he's a teacher at the time, and he's explaining the system of government that they had, that it was so corrupt, the politicians were so corrupt that the military had to step in and intervene. And then now you got to become a guy in the military if you want to become a citizen, get your citizenship and all that kind of shit. I mean, watch Starship Troopers with a different eye. I mean, when he explains the system of government, it's basically, oh, the people weren't trusted because the politicians were so corrupt. No, do you know why politicians get corrupt? Is because we have laws. We have laws that apply mainly to the people, but they should also be applied to the politicians. And in paper, they should be, but in theory, they're not. They really don't fucking apply the same rules to us that they do to the politicians. And so that's what breeds the corruption. Of course, the money in DC and the lobbyists and the friend that's fucking, a friend of the friend of the friend of the prosecutors. And they're all dicking each other because they're fucking queer or something like that. And that's why we have corrupt politicians. They don't follow the law. If we were to follow our law, we wouldn't have corrupt politicians. If we had an attorney general that actually fucking locked these people up and tried them for treason, threw the fucking book at them, and they, instead of going after a little guy like us, the little guys like us are like the people that you shouldn't throw the book at all. If you're a fucking guy in public business and you're fucking part of the government and you fucking are corrupt, you should be literally fucking they should fucking shove a microscope so fucking far up your ass that they can set a fucking leaf on fire by opening your mouth. I mean, literally just fucking look through you and then fuck you up, much like what they're doing to Donald Trump. That should happen to all politicians. I don't want to get into the Spartans. Well, the Spartans would like it. They would impeach their kings. In Sparta, ancient Sparta, you had two kings. You had like a king of religion, king of war. Here we go. And they were, and so one of the things our constitution, our presidents are modeled off is Sparta, except for her president. They had two gods. They are the two kings. One was a king of religion. One was a king of war. They both served 4-year terms. And and they could only serve 2 4-year terms, like our presidency. However, after each 4-year term, they were impeached automatically by the council. And if you ruled incorrectly or against Sparta, you fucking took bribes, you found that you harmed your fucking office, you did bad, all your land was taken and you were killed or beaten and exiled, but you wouldn't become a king again. However, if you ruled correctly, then you could be elected to be a king again for another 4 years. And that was it. You only get 2 4-year terms as king in Sparta. Either king of religion, king of war. Leonidas was the king of war. And again, after your last 4 years, you're impeached. Did you rule correct? Did you rule correctly for Sparta? Okay. Then now you're retired. New king is elected. We need that. We've already had Trump. He's been impeached twice. But literally, I wouldn't care. I would want our fucking people to start holding our people. The people should start holding all the politicians accountable. And especially if you're going to be president or everything like that, right after your first 4-year term, automatic impeachment. Let's go through your presidency. And if you fucked up, if Hunter Biden was your child, yeah, we're going to seize all your assets. Executed, treason, assets are liquidated, national debt, a little bit more, a little 0.001% taken off the national debt. I bet you we'd start paying off the national debt real fast if we did that for all our congressmen and all our senators. We just held impeachment trials of each. I know it'd be totally impossible. But you think about it. Yeah, it'd be great. Anyways, so like I said, when you watch Starship, I don't know if I covered. Yeah, I did cover Starship Troopers, but it was like their form of government was like fucking the people couldn't make their decisions, so the government or the military took over the government and everything like that, and then they went to the stars and got into a big bug war, and it's pretty trippy. But I think that's like one of the things that they're like, well, we can always like use the military to take control, and that's what they really want to do. But the ignorance of these fucking people that would want something like that doesn't know what they would spawn. A ruthless leader that has the total control of the military, not like a president. He's followed by fucking. It's a basic Hitler scenario, or a Mao or a Stalin scenario. That's what they are. It's nothing new. They just kind of glamorize it in Starship Troopers. Well, anyways, I wanted to make this a quick one, but it wound up not being a quick one. But thank you for hanging out. Turn this off now, and you all have a good night.